all policing is local. This is an adage that was certainly meant for Kenya. Across this great nation, police work is executed in diverse, complex and often contrasting environments, each requiring its own adaptation. In operational areas of Northeastern Province, Upper Eastern, parts of Mwingi, Kitui and Tharaka, North Rift and parts of Lamu and Tana River, combat formations define police work. Just like other majority highways in these areas, there are heavy combat formations patrolling Lokichogio and Nadapal border post roads. This is not some part of Mogadishu or Kismayu. This is Kenya. And along the borders of pastoralist communities, heavily armed, battle-hardened anti-stock theft formations are on patrol alongside state-armed Kenya Police Reserves whose numbers outstrip those of the police by more than 3 to 1 in some areas. Crucial grazings and watering points have become epicenters of fierce gun battles between communities. Thousands of animals worth millions of shillings are often lost, crippling economies and livelihoods of communities that depend on animals for survival. Countless lives have been lost, and those with permanent disabilities as a result of gun battles are countless. The government has declared these guns illegal, but the communities have legitimized and are clinging onto them for survival, to protect and to raid. The latest report by the government's National Focal Points on Small Arms gives a glimpse into the magnitude of the problem. There are more than 500,000 illegal firearms in civilian hands. Each household possesses at least a firearm. The trade routes and merchants remain unknown and faceless. Policing in this area is a highly militarized affair. It boils down to an unparalleled threat for survival in the hardest terrains in these areas. State conservation efforts are not spread either. People force their ways into parks and game reserves, claiming grazing rights, resulting into confrontation with the state. An officer posted to this area considers it a form of punishment, and people in these areas are concerned that officers posted here are either on fast deployment from college or are in some form of punishment. Within the refugee camps of Dadaab and Kakuma, Kenya's police are called upon to protect persons of different nationalities who have varying degrees of trauma as a result of wars and forced migration. It is a call that requires a high level of diversity, understanding, tolerance, and compassion. Across the country, the police are now confronted with an emerging wave of violence. Though considered low-key forms of radicalization and extremism, Nairobi, Northeastern and Coast regions have had their fair share of grenade attacks in places of worship and public events. Though the state has moved in to reclaim the moral narrative against these violent acts, the country is yearning for a more robust, proactive intervention response. In the upcoming urban areas like Kisii, road usage is stubbornly tragic and comical. Yet, the traffic commandant is expected to effectively enforce the law.
Area hii tunakuwa na uchunguzi wa aina mbalimbali. Kuko na hizi magari za kuchukua abiria ambayo ni matatu na buses pia, na at the same time kuna pia mambo za pikipiki. Hapo sasa tuko na pikipiki zaidi ya 10,000. Watu wengi sana wengi wa hapa wameweka pesa zao kununua pikipiki za kubeba abiria. Hata ingawaje hakuna clear policy ya kuonyesha kwamba wanatakikana wabebe abiria kwa pikipiki. Na hiyo kwanza imechangia kazi yetu kuwa ngumu zaidi, sababu mtu akiwa hapo na pikipiki anaona kama hapo na haki ya kufanya hiyo biashara.
Across Nairobi, the traffic situation is so concerning that several stations now convened joint briefing sessions for officers. They also implement Unified Command of Traffic Services. Organized gangs are still a challenge to safety of bus stages and public transport routes in Nairobi and other major urban centers. The Dandora Dam site community, like any other informal neighborhood community, is a key safety interest in the city. Across the city, small-scale traders often set off early in the morning and return late in the night from markets and places of work. They are targets of muggings and are in need of specialized policing services provision. Vigilante groups are increasing at an alarming rate. They have become a national security concern. When they started as protection groups, communities easily embraced them. Today, they have adulterated community policing as it should be practiced. In Kirinyaga and in Kisii, as is anywhere else across the country, they now claim the community policing mantle to the chagrin of everyone else. The police headquarters is alarmed. Kenyans are alarmed. 78 is the number of such groups across Kenya, and they are growing in size, complexity, and severity of their criminal actions. It is, however, not despair all around the country. Since January 2012, community stakeholders in Kisii, Kirinyaga, Mtwapa, and Eastleigh in Nairobi have to reclaim the lost path to community policing. They have implemented coordinated bottom-up intervention that are now endorsed by participating government agencies, local authorities, police stations, administration police units, provincial administration, local hospital, civil society, rescue programs are now engaged in designing inter-agency programs in these communities. They have jointly implemented community-wide crime and violence impact studies, negotiated the priority problems, and developed strategies and plans that combine enforcement role of law enforcement agencies and prevention role of other state and non-state agencies.
We talked with them in terms of crime, because they are being used to facilitate in a way, for example, to transport those criminals. So I talked with them and they are really assisting me, because at times I receive calls. Wananiambia, OCS yuko wapi? Kuna watu wako hapa. Wananiambia niwapeleke mahali fulani, sioni kama ni watu wazuri. So namwambia wakipanda walete straight, waambie wanakunywa mafuta walete kwanza station. And with that nimejaribu kamata bangi, machang'a tumekamata, wanatuletea. So I talk with them, they are good people. I can say in this area I don't have any problem with them.
When we come to community policing is that we advise them not to engage themselves as a police. They don't do the police work, but they assist the police in relation to when it comes giving information to the police. And this one is usually done by the OCS. The OCS becomes the vice chairman.
Modogash is one station that probably demonstrates how communities are operating from a different universe from their police and criminal justice system. At this station, the detention facility is now used as storage. The community does not report crimes to the police. Instead, they resort to local mechanisms for resolutions of all disputes and crime, replacing the country's justice system with their own. This situation is relocated in vast areas of South Rift, or what in Kenya is often referred to as Masai Land.